fluffy teddy bear face. Looks like it was designed by someone whose only job was to make you say, "Aww." The Cavachon has genuinely cracked the code on first impressions. What happens after that first impression? That's a very different conversation. One breeders gloss over, owners discover too late, and almost nobody talks about. Until now. So before you bring one home, here are 9 things no one tells you about owning a Cavachon. Number 1. Tear staining is not just cosmetic. You bring home this fluffy, cream-colored little dream dog. 2 weeks later, it looks like it's been crying over a breakup it refuses to talk about. Those rusty brown streaks under a Cavachon's eyes are called tear staining, and every single owner encounters them. Most grab a grooming wipe and call it done. That works about as well as putting a Band-Aid over a check engine light. The reddish color comes from porphyrins, compounds excreted through tears. The Cavalier side of this breed brings naturally shallow eye sockets and prominent eyes, so drainage issues are basically part of the package. But genetics aren't always the villain. Ear infections, allergens, and diet can all make staining dramatically worse. One owner cracked it after months of frustration, saying, "It's definitely diet-related for our dog. We just feed her royal canine and chicken now only, and she doesn't have it anymore." Highly processed kibble packed with grain fillers and artificial dyes is a repeat offender, so stop treating the stain. Find the cause, and your dog's face will clear up on its own. Number 2. Picky eating can become a trained behavior fast. Here's a trap Cavachon owners fall into constantly. Dog sniffs the bowl, walks away. Owner panics, adds something tastier. Dog eats. Owner feels relieved. Dog takes notes. Cavachons are not starving, they're negotiating, and they get very good at it. Someone described cycling through 8 different dog foods before their Cavachon would eat each one exactly once, then refuse it entirely. That owner suggested, "Mine was picky. Just give them their food at breakfast, and at lunchtime, they'll eat when they're hungry. You're just giving options." The dog wasn't picky. The dog had learned that holding out produced better results. Both parent breeds are intelligent and people-focused, which makes them excellent at reading your anxiety around mealtimes. The moment you start hovering and sweetening the deal, you've handed over control. Put the food down, give it 20 minutes, pick it up. No drama, no substitutions. It feels cruel, but it genuinely isn't. A healthy Cavachon will eat when it's actually hungry, not when the menu finally meets its standards. Number 3. They can be much more athletic and manic than the teddy bear marketing suggests. Every Cavachon photo you've ever seen is a fluffy little angel sitting still in soft lighting. What those photos don't show is the 20 minutes of absolute chaos that came before someone got the dog to stop moving. The teddy bear aesthetic sells a vibe that isn't always the reality. These dogs have a Bichon Frise parent, a breed historically bred to perform, with energy levels that don't quietly disappear just because the dog is small and adorable. Owners describe Cavachons that are full blast, puppy-like at age 6, and essentially only calm when unconscious. In fact, one owner, overwhelmed by their 7-month-old, was told by another, "Well, that's just the Bichon in there. They don't really have an off switch." Which honestly tracks. This isn't a dog that self-regulates on the couch. Without proper daily exercise and mental stimulation, that energy finds its own outlet. Usually, something you own and would prefer undamaged. The cuteness is real, so is the chaos. Know what you're signing up for. Number 4. Potty training can be weirdly stubborn. Small dog, small bladder. That part makes sense. What nobody warns you about is how long this battle can actually run. One Cavachon owner, working from home with every advantage, described the whole process as horrible, despite trying everything. Another owner said their dog only clicked around age 2. Someone else mentioned their 9-year-old still being not great about it, which raises an obvious and deeply uncomfortable question. The Bichon side carries most of the blame here. Bichon owners across multiple forums describe the same pattern. A dog that understands exactly what's expected and simply isn't always moved to comply. Not confusion, priorities. One owner put it plainly, She kept having accidents no matter what we tried. It took us a year and a half, and we were both working from home the entire time. Consistency and routine are non-negotiable. Just go in knowing that fully trained might take significantly longer than any timeline you've read online. Number 5. The coat can mat even when you brush daily. So you're taking your Cavachon coat seriously, brushing every day, booking the groomer every 6 weeks, feeling pretty on top of it. Then the groomer finds a mat the size of a golf ball behind the ear that appeared out of absolutely nowhere. This happens constantly with Cavachons, and the reason catches most owners off guard. It's not that they're brushing wrong, it's that they're brushing the wrong way. A slicker brush moves over the surface looking neat and doing very little for what's building underneath. One owner described the exact moment it clicked. I was brushing her every single day and still showed up to the groomer with mats. Turns out I'd been skimming the surface the whole time, never actually getting down to the skin. Groomers specifically recommend line brushing, working through sections all the way down to the skin, followed by a metal comb check. That's the only way to actually catch what's forming before it becomes a problem. Behind the ears, under the armpits, around the collar. Those spots mat faster and get missed most. Check them every single time. Number 6. Bathing can make mats worse if you do it wrong. You've nailed the brushing routine. Daily combing, metal comb checks, the works. Then you give your Cavachon a bath and somehow end up with more mats than you started with. Feels deeply unfair, also completely preventable. Water causes the coat to swell, which tightens existing tangles and compresses loose, dead hair into knots. If the coat isn't dried all the way down to the skin, not just surface dry, actually dry, and brushed out immediately after, you've essentially set the mat permanently in place. In fact, one groomer who regularly works with Cavachons put it plainly. Bathing coats that isn't fully brushed out first is the fastest way to felt it. I've seen owners come in after a home bath with coats that were basically one solid pelt. There's nothing I can do at that point except shave it. And groomers genuinely use the word pelt. It means the coat has matted so densely it behaves like one fused sheet. Brush before the bath, blow dry completely after. Skipping either step turns a simple wash into a very expensive lesson. Number 7. Ear problems are a real Cavachon tax. Your Cavachon starts shaking its head like it's trying to fling something across the room. You sniff near the ear. You immediately regret it. Congratulations! You've just discovered the Cavachon subscription fee. Floppy ears seal moisture in and airflow out, which is basically a 5-star resort for yeast and bacteria. Both parent breeds bring allergy-prone skin into the mix, making the whole situation structurally worse before environment even enters the conversation. ASPCA Pet Insurance lists ear infections among the top Cavachon claims. Not occasionally, consistently. One Cavachon owner told us, "Third ear infection this year. My vet and I are on a first-name basis at this point. I've basically just budgeted it as a monthly expense." Weekly ear checks, drying the canals after every bath, and regular cleaning won't eliminate the risk entirely. But they're the difference between catching it early and paying for it later. And with Cavachon ears, later is always way more expensive. Number 8. Some Cavachons do not mellow quickly. Everyone reassures you, just get through the puppy phase, they say. They calm down around a year. You hold on to that. You mark it in your head like a finish line. Then the first birthday passes. Nothing changes. The couch is still a launch pad. A thread on our Cavachon asked owners exactly when their dog finally settled down. The answers were, let's say, not reassuring. One said 9 or 10 months. Another said somewhere around 5 years. A third replied with the kind of honesty that only comes from genuine exhaustion. My Cavachon is 12, and I have the same question. That last one got upvotes. A lot of them. The problem is there's no universal timeline. Some settle at 1, some at 5. Some apparently never get the memo, and no amount of exercise, training, or wishful thinking changes the timeline. So if you're buying one expecting a lap dog by year 1, adjust that expectation now. Number 9. A bad-bred Cavachon can inherit the worst parts of both breeds at once. Designer mix sounds like someone curated the good stuff and quietly discarded the rest. That's not how genetics work, and nobody putting a deposit down wants to hear that. The Cavalier side carries serious baggage. Mitral valve disease progresses from a murmur to heart failure, and it's so prevalent in Cavaliers that experienced owners treat it as a when, not an if. Syringomyela, fluid building in the spinal cord because the skull is too small for the brain inside it, is another one that blindsides people completely. The Bichon side adds chronic allergies, skin issues, dental issues, and luxating patellas, kneecaps that slip out of place with a frequency that's almost impressive. A responsible breeder health tests both parents. That single step filters out an enormous amount of downstream heartbreak and vet bills that make the original purchase price look like a rounding error. Hey, if you enjoyed this, you'll probably love this video here. And if you hit subscribe, I'll donate a meal to a rescue dog on your behalf.